Yeah.
All right, let's get going.
Gushing.
I'd like to call this meeting to order. Public, please hold comments until the select board chairman opens the agenda items for public comment. When addressing the board, state your full name, both in person and on Zoom. It is suggested that you enter your full name as your ID on Zoom. Minutes, I will entertain a motion.
I'll move them.
All in favor?
Who was that second? I'm sorry.
Rick.
Very quietly.
Well, I don't know if I'm supposed to, I have to sign this things. I mean, I guess it doesn't matter, but I feel like I'll let somebody else move in second and I sign it as secretary. This is me. I don't know.
Oh,
Anyway, I just don't usually. Okay.
Okay, appointments, recognitions, and resignations. Consider appointment of Megan Bailey to the Comprehensive Planning Committee. Consider,
Move appointment.
Second,
all in favor? Consider appointment of Kathy Miller to the Comprehensive Planning Committee.
Move appointment.
second,
All in favor? Request appointment of Gail Marshall as regular member of the Planning Board.
Move appointment.
second,
All in favor? Accept resignation of David Ashmore from the Luso Committee.
Move acceptance.
second,
All in favor? Accept resignation of Dave Ashmore from the Planning Board.
Move acceptance.
second,
All in favor? Accept resignation of Tom Wallace from the Mount Desert Fire Department as the Assistant Fire Chief and on-call firefighter effective November 23, 2023.
Move acceptance.
second with thanks.
Yes, many thanks to Tom.
Indeed.
Yep,
For many, many years.
yes. All right, consent agenda.
We didn't vote.
Or did you accept it? You did vote? Okay.
We didn't vote.
No.
Okay, all in favor? Consent agenda, Hancock County Commissioners Special Meeting Minutes from October 17, 2023. Hancock County Budget Advisory Committee, 2024 budget estimates, informational meeting Tuesday, November 21, 2023.
Move acceptance of the consent agenda as presented.
Second,
All in favor? Any select board reports?
I have one.
Yep.
At our last meeting, I had mentioned that, there were folks, especially close to my home, that are concerned about, when we are going to have a permanent police chief. And at that meeting, you advised that you may have a recommendation for us at this meeting, but I don't see it on the agenda.
Yeah, Dave can be voted tomorrow at Bar Harbor, and then we'll have our updated contract and they call it the agreement, so I'm gonna bring that to the next meeting. We'll put him on that, but he will be the nominee. Since we're gonna do it once we get him nominated and accepted by Bar Harbor, so it's coming.
Coming slow but sure. I'm just concerned that, how much money is being spent on overtime. There's 5 vacancies now between here and Bar Harbor that can't be filled. So other business that has to be transacted, so.
Yeah, good point. It will, the long road will be completed.
Well, that's good to hear. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
sure you still want the job?
Oh, I didn't even see you there.
I did notice that a couple of letterheads or notices had not referred to him as acting chief anymore.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, I know.
Did you pick up on that too?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Any more selectmen's reports? I have one thing. So we were supposed to get a notification or a solicitation of interest in joining the Comprehensive Planning Committee from Noel's office, and I haven't seen anything come out.
Okay, I'll check on that.
All right.
I was thinking, the people who attended that meeting, it would be good if they received and express some interest, if they received the form that they need to fill out to join.
Yeah, I'll check on that.
Yeah.
Take care of it tomorrow for you.
That's a good point.
Anything else? Unfinished business, location of the 2024 open floor annual town meeting.
It's Claire's recommendation that we go to the school because of the size of the potential crowd this time.
Yeah, makes sense.
I agree with her, yeah.
I do too.
Do we need to vote on that?
Not really. I think what we'll do is we'll just get, permission from the school to hold those dates for us, and we'll be all set, but I don't think you really have to vote on the location.
Okay,
Just agree amongst yourselves where it's gonna be.
makes sense.
Okay. All right, new business. Request authorization to release and approve the expenditure of funds not to exceed $60,437.47 from Police Department Capital Reserve Account 4040100-24405. Funds will purchase a 2023 Ford Police Interceptor from Quirk Auto Group, Augusta, in the amount of $52,415 without a trade, and an in-car camera system from WatchGuard in the amount of $8,022.47 to be installed in the cruiser. Right, a question.
Yeah.
Why no trade-in? Are we expanding our fleet?
We are not expanding the fleet, like we've kept, one of the SUVs in the past for highway, for public work. With parking, increased routes around Mount Desert as well as the mental health liaison. Cleaner not to have a patrol vehicle. So this one actually has 80,000 miles on it. We usually set them at 100,000, so I figured if we just kept this one, but then continue to trade this one as we move forward. So
Okay. And second question is, no hybrid?
it is a hybrid.
Oh, it is.
And it was funny because I was looking through the memo and I realized that we didn't put that in there.
Okay.
Hybrid model.
Phil will be very pleased.
Oh, good.
The only other note on that is the CIP or the capital improvement line for the watch guard, that's fully funded this year. Rather than doing them all in 1 year where we purchased them all that way, I figured started cycling them out as we outfit cars. It's just cleaner where we have the money. So that's why it's a little bit earlier on the replacement.
Okay,
I'll move it.
Second.
all in favor? Thank you, Dave.
Thank you.
Consider approval of the creation of the position of foreman within the Public Works Department at the hourly rate of $29.51 per hour and a 6-month probationary rate of $31.06. There's a correction there per hour, and inclusion of the position in the collective bargaining agreement with Teamsters Local 340.
Yeah, just that the correction is 3106 as the starting wage, and there's the 6-month probationary is the correct amount in there, but not the 29.51. It's 3106. And this has been something that's been kind of in the works for a little while. This is a way to structure the operations a little bit differently so that we have someone who can be on point in particular situations and locations and timing that can direct work. We have supervision at the superintendent's level, and then this assists that superintendent with being able to direct that work when the superintendent isn't around. It really provides some continuity in leadership and structure that we've kind of been doing in many ways, and this just recognizes the role of that person who can take on that responsibility of assisting with directing things. And this is going to be someone who's going to be key to our plowing operations for this coming winter.
So this is gonna be a new hire, not putting somebody in that position who's already working there. Is that correct?
It'll start as an internal advertisement first, to see if there's somebody that's interested within the divisions. And I think that makes the most sense because someone that takes on this role has, will need a level of experience, and it's best to be a known quantity, somebody that they already work with. So that's the desire, is to go internally first for a couple of weeks and look for an appropriate candidate that way first.
Then you'd be replacing that
That's-
person if you, so we're
No, it's not going to there's not going to be a backfill.
Okay, so you're not gonna, there's
Not
no
adding it.
more people, there's just an elevation or.
It's just an
Yeah.
elevation of a particular person
Okay.
within the
That was
group,
my
within the group
question.
already. Yeah.
Okay,
Thanks.
that's key.
yes, it is.
All right, thank you, Brian.
So I'll move approval.
I'll second that.
All right, any other questions? All in favor?
Thank you.
Consider off. Oh, yeah,
You said thank you.
You said that.
okay. Consider authorization for the fire chief to sign and execute a master service agreement with Consolidated Communications, Inc. to install a fiber line to the Somersville Fire Station for internet access.
Move authorization.
Second.
All in favor? Review of capital improvement plan.
What you've got is a rough draft.
Oh, there it is.
At this point, it's only a draft. You've got several members that have the key ingredients to make up most of the capital improvement plan, and Chief Bender, Chief Kearns, and Brian. This will be coming back to you later with probably some modification, but what you've got is a document that, if accepted as full, would be a fully funded CIP. I think for the first time, it would be fully funded. But it's liable to have, you'll have more iterations before it's finalized, but this is our first draft through for your perusal. And these folks there, I think, since the capital improvement plan is a document that's designed mostly for the practitioners as opposed to people that are looking at it for the first time, I think it's helpful for them to kind of walk you through the highlights of their departments. Dave, you want to start?
You want me to start?
You're here.
So this is the second year that we'll actually be adding in the cruisers and the capital improvement for us. That's the biggest increase that you'll see. Part of, I know you just saw my memo on the new cruiser purchase that we just, got the bids for. We're seeing a substantial increase in cost of vehicle production, at least from the short term for us. They actually are not even making 2024 model because they're still behind in their, the manufacturing. So, we probably will, in here, you'll notice that next year we're not actually even buying a cruiser. Because of this, purchase this year, our fleet's low enough that we think that we can manage to hold off 1 year, keep our fleet. We usually trade out at 100,000. Right now, both of we'll have a brand new one coming in, and the other two both have 30,000 miles on, that we should be able to skip a year. But some of that calculation in those prices is substantially increased, so if we were gonna fund one next year, it would be even a higher ask from the police department, so we had a choice to at least keep that a little bit lower in here. So that also keeps our fleet cycle on the replacement year of 1 year after that. And I know that both Brian and Chief Bender are ready to talk about theirs, which my replacement schedule is a lot quicker than most because the vehicle like every 3 years. Some of their equipment is much longer of a forecast out. So I think it gets a little bit hard when you start funding larger apparatus items that hard to predict the inflation rates and where, supply chains and stuff like that. So, but the majority of the increases that you see in the police department, communication department, we haven't increased it at all. So that's the same flat line from last year's CIP. It's just the one increase you'll see with our.
So how many miles a year do you figure for your cruisers? About 35?
So about 35, and we, with Bar Harbor's fleet and Mount Desert fleet, we tend to put a few more miles on the Bar Harbor cars. So those are cycling out every 3 years, some of 4 years. So, but the fleet wise, we're in really good shape at the moment. Some of it is that we are not waiting, we're buying an awful lot models, which cuts the price up a little bit, but also it's have to keep our fleet in under 100,000 mile.
Mhm.
And in the operating budget, we've noticed, we've been able to capitalize on the fact that our increase, or we decrease what we're actually doing for service at the dealer and those types of repairs, both sides of our harbor, but it's getting the car cycled out before they hit that 100,000 mile.
Thank you. You'll have to be paying less for gas in your hybrids.
They do well, most of what we'll see on those is especially accident scenes or idling, because they do just shut off. So
Mhm.
it's a little bit, realistically, maybe 2 to 3 more miles per gallon is what we're noticing, so. Yeah,
Adds up.
yes, it does, for sure. And I know the other department heads, I think, Brian, we talked about this at department head, or well, I joined the department head meeting, I think it was this meeting with our finance director, but, this is a substantial increase. I know I'm the one that's in the room, so I felt like I need to say it. When you look at this is truly funded to make sure that capital improvement would be funded fully, moving forward. So a little bit more of a hit up front. We talked about maybe some of the other departments phasing in, so it wasn't such a big hit one year if we try to look to 4 years, 5 years down the road to get fully funded from the CIP, just with the idea that we're probably not in a position right now to be fully funded across the board within all the departments.
I think I caught that, Dave. It's a little hard. I think you were breaking up a little bit, but yes, so from the public works perspective, particular areas like highway rolling stock has been traditionally underfunded for quite some time. And that means that when we bring things to you, like the loader lease that we just did, as well as the backhoe lease, we're going 50% out of the budget and 50% out of the CIP. That just simply means we don't have enough in the CIP to do that purchase. And so we're having to split it across different funding sources. A fully funded CIP wouldn't have that issue. And so I was proposing with this to at least take a look at what do we have to do to get to a fully funded CIP, and to move from doing those 50-50 splits. The thing that's kind of an issue with doing those splits like that is it's harder for you to make the appropriate financial decision at the time. With a fully funded CIP, you can look at both lease and purchase when you're ready to replace a vehicle and make the one that makes the most sense financially for the town. If you have good lease terms, then maybe that's the route that you go, because you want to retain the money in the reserves accounts because it's making a certain amount. And if you don't get good lease terms, or if you're not really gaining in the reserve funds through the interest that you're getting at the level that you want, then maybe you go ahead with the purchase and use those funds. But you don't have that flexibility when you're continuously underfunded, and so you're sort of stuck with whatever is available at the time. You don't get to make the choice as easily. And so you'll see the highway rolling stock has increased quite a bit. One place that the fund is better is the wastewater rolling stock. So the trucks there are, generally we can make those kinds of choices and have options. Another couple of things that I revised within it to sort of show a more true picture of where we are in terms of funding is some of the replacement years we're really stretching particular pieces of equipment. And while I don't have personal knowledge of this, I've been given some of the history on how things have been repaired and then replaced very shortly after that, where if you just turn these down just a little bit and shorten those years, you shouldn't as often run into these sort of expensive repairs, replacing engines or putting in, significant amounts of work to pieces of equipment that you're really trying to stretch their life too much. And so that also causes a little bit of an issue in terms of increasing that CIP funding amount. If you're funding it over a shorter period of time, because your replacement values or your replacement years are fewer, that costs a little bit more as well. One thing I did do also in thinking about kind of historic inflation rates versus what the short-term inflation rates have been lately is to pick and choose. If something is longer than a 7-year replacement time frame, I've made it a 2.5-year inflationary rate instead of the full 5-year or 2.5% inflationary rate instead of a full 5%. That's more on par with what traditional inflation rates are. The 5% sort of guards you in case there are particular short-term hiccups, but 2.5 generally is probably better for something that you're replacing on a 20-year cycle. And so I basically chose 7 years replacement cycle for that cutoff. And then, yeah, the thing that I think Dave was talking about is this is the full amount, and what we can do is to provide a game plan for how we would get to this full funded amount. It doesn't necessarily have to be done in one shot, but I did feel that it was important to see it and to try and come up with a plan for how we would get to fully funded so that we have a functional CIP.
Chief Bender, your turn.
Yes, so going along with what Brian and Dave said, the fire department CIP this year is fully funded as well, where in the past we haven't done that. And really, the only major changes in the fire department CIP is I have updated the rolling stock based on what we expect to pay for our fire truck when it's delivered in February 25. There were some adjustments there. Most of it was increased by double digits on the apparatus. And then I did add a couple of IT equipment. It was a server to be replaced in about 7 years, and a couple of tablets to be replaced in the ambulances in about 5 years. And the other change, the significant change, is we've decided to keep our box truck. It's called the air truck. And we are going to repurpose that to start carrying some technical rescue equipment like confined space and some wildland firefighting gear. So we can hopefully surplus the trailer that the confined space equipment is now in. And that's really the biggest changes for the fire department.
Okay. Thanks, Mike.
So at this blush, all 3 departments are looking at fully funded CIP. Okay.
But it's a work in progress.
Yep, he'll be coming back with some final recommendations as the budget process moves along. Time you get to review the budget when it's in budgetary form, those changes should be made.
What's your gut feeling off the cuff about how this is going to impact our?
Well, look at the bottom line, if you fully funded it now, it would go from if you fully funded it now, it would be $1,356,352.10. And last year it was at $1,084,314, so that's 25% still fully funded. 25.09 to be precise.
In real terms, it's $300,000.
Yeah, it's roughly. So that would be a little over a mil rate on that. 250 is 1 mil, so roughly a mil.
Kind of depends how the rest of the budget shakes out.
Yes, it does.
Thank you.
Thank you. So do we have to cart these around?
No, they're gonna give us new.
Yeah, those are just drafts and you
Okay.
can discard these. They'll look different.
Before we wrap up.
Sure.
I forgot to add, we have Mike Bender on the line. I heard tell that we're having an open house at the Sonesville Fire Station. That I've asked for on a couple different occasions, but haven't heard anything about. And then, is that
Did you get
happening?
an invitation?
No.
I did.
Well,
I didn't.
I thought it was pretty good.
Actually, we are planning an open house for the Northeast Harbor Station.
So the Somerville one never happened, okay.
Not
And
It
isn't
hasn't
scheduled,
happened, it hasn't happened yet, and we will have an open house up there. We still, believe it or not, we still got a couple of items, the contractors have got to come in and
okay,
take care of.
Okay.
But for those that want to attend, we're planning an open house for the Northeast Harbor Station on December 2nd. It's the same evening as the Northeast Harbor Christmas Festival.
I didn't get an invite to that
And
either.
Santa Claus comes in by boat.
That's right.
Can't help that. Yeah, you gotta.
Yeah,
You are all personally invited.
she's one of the right people.
I'm not in Northeast.
I think it's from 4 to 6, 4 to 6, is that right,
Close to me.
Mike?
No, we're gonna plan it for 3 to 5.
3 to 5.
All right, any other business? No, all right, let's do the warrants. Approve and sign treasurer's warrant as shown below. Town invoices AP 2432 in the amount of $204,220.18.
Move approval and signature?
Second,
All in favor? State fees and payroll benefits, AP 2430, AP 2431, and PR 2412 in the amount of $210,469.86.
Move approval.
second,
All in favor? Acknowledge treasurer's town voided disbursements and school board AP payroll warrants as shown below. School invoice, school payroll, PR 10 in the amount of $96,778.62.
move acknowledgement.
Second.
All in favor?
Up to sign.
Okay, motion to adjourn?
So move.
Second.
All in favor?